It's Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Welcome to GUS Society, aka the English Club's first ever podcast. I am Rani Muhammad Aziz Al Jadami, and this is the first episode of our podcast. Today, we are going to be discussing many topics. But before we get into that, first, let's introduce our guests. First guest, Aziz, would you like to introduce yourself?
Abdulaziz Al-Sunawi here, somehow survived 3 years in mechanical engineering, and I like contemplating my existence.
Thank you so much. Second guest, Maher, would you please like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Maher Ashokri, aka The Hope. I'm the vice president of the GUS Club, and I'm a computer science student, third year, and I'm one of the best.
Okay, and our last and final guest, Sulaiman, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, Sulaiman Mahrouti, third year student, mechanical engineering. That's much about it.
And behind the scenes, we have Zuena, our amazing editor, who's taking care of the recording since we had many problems that we will be discussing again. Okay, so for today's topic, we are going to be talking about the internet. So ever since this pandemic hit, the internet has basically been our way and our main source of communication. We use it for basically everything from online school to food, which in my case is always. So I just wanted to know, what do you guys mostly use the internet for?
Okay, I feel like this is my opinion, by the way, okay? What I've noticed, what I've discovered. Nowadays, for us, like in the digital world, the internet, it's like God in the digital world, not our world. Because basically it provides us with almost everything that we need. Not everything, but just roughly speaking, everything we need, okay?
No, almost everything.
Almost everything. It gives us access to things that we want to search for, access to things that we need in our lives. And pretty much it opens up a lot of narrations and things that we can do. Like you can explore, you can have an expedition, you can watch movies, you can use it for entertainment, for educational purposes. Even, for example, let's say life situations, like life activities, for example. For me, I can see the future that we might even cook on the internet or maybe take shower on the internet. I don't know how it will work, but believe me, it will happen. The world of technology is heading into an audacious step or an audacious space, let's say.
That's a great word to describe it.
There's no limit with internet. That's my thing.
Actually, people do cook.
Basically, I use it for everything: gaming, music, source of entertainment, education, almost everything.
What do you use it mostly for, to say?
Social media, not that much, because I'm not really into social media a lot. Gaming, music, and some entertainment.
And not online school?
No.
Online school shouldn't even be talked about because it's, let's say, 100% of our education right now is all online. So, it's natural.
That's actually very true. No, in Jutik's case, we're not fully online. Like, we do go to campus and some things and whatnot. But here, it's almost like 90% all online.
I think depending on the measure, right?
Yeah, also
what would you say? Yeah, exactly. What is something
when
interesting?
It comes to engineering, it goes that even project work is being done online. So right now there's this software, it's called Tinkercad, and the engineering department looks very much interested.
Very promising.
They like it.
Engineering department. Can we just leave engineering department on the side? That's kind of a sore spot.
I actually heard that you guys do project work online now. How is that going so far? Because I can't even imagine that, actually.
We're not doing it right now. We have it next semester where hopefully this pandemic will end. But as far as I know, they're just doing like reports and stuff.
Are you sure about it?
And it's just basically like very like it's just not convenient at all. Just write this, memorize this, and you get your grade while finishing half the courses without understanding 25% of what you're supposed to know.
Yeah, I mean,
Online is just not.
I mean, there's good and bad to online school. The good thing for me is I get to take my time on each and every course. Like when I was in campus, I feel like classes were just back to back 2 hours, like 5 to 8 in the 5 in the morning to 8, 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Yeah. And we would just sit there all day, and I like, because it's overwhelming sometimes, and I feel like I couldn't almost keep up. But now at home, I feel like it's still difficult, but at least I can take my time and like try to understand each individual course, you know?
I mean, about when it comes to online courses, I think the only thing I enjoy is just that I don't have to wake up like 6 something for 8 a.m. classes. I just wake up at 8:15.
You don't wake up for class?
Attend it.
Yeah, because classes are recorded now.
No, they're live, but I'm lazy. And it's just like, since we got to this point, our schedules are much better like in the 3rd year. But still, like, driving all that distance and sometimes just gets boring. But hey, getting to see friends is worth it, though. It's very fun.
Driving.
Yeah, 8 a.m. classes are super fun, mashallah.
Don't talk about them, please.
No, not internet. I mean,
I can call
classes.
those the best because I think that is the time where you can be the most energetic. Anybody
at 8 a.m.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, at 8 a.m.
You're high on
that's
caffeine.
the time where your brain activity is kind of the highest, 4 to 8. So
If you're high on caffeine, maybe.
Well, that's true.
When you get your 8 hours of sleep, I don't think you can have any opposition. I think you can even break walls.
True.
That I agree with, yeah. Okay, now besides school, since that's our life now, basically, what's like something interesting and fun that you guys look forward to do that's online besides school?
Okay, for me, I discovered this application that basically, I won't say run my life, but organize my life in a certain way. It's called Notion. I think I introduced it to everyone here. Basically,
I'm using it right now.
Notion, I use it basically for everything: my school work, my university work, my personal life, entertainment, books, everything that I do, I add in Notion. And it's what it did, it pumps up my, let's say, my adrenaline. It gave me that the desire.
What does this app do, basically?
I don't know. It's a platform for everything. That's
everything.
A platform for everything.
Like, does it organize your schedule for the day, or what?
You can do anything that you have in mind that you want to do, you can do.
Okay.
Like, how does it work in that moment?
For example, let's say
it's basically your brand.
I created a database, okay, with my project table and task table, okay? I assigned it to a dashboard, which basically, if I have, it's like a to-do list, but in advanced to-do list. That's one part of the application. This part, whenever I think of something to do, I just write it down quickly with the due date, if I want to do ASAP, the context, the project, etc., etc. And I have another dashboard called Personal Life. There I added a to-do list, a mini one that we all used to when you finish. I had a whole section with experience. There I have the movies that I'm watching, like a list of movies, list of TV shows, etc., etc. I have another thing, I forgot the name of it, but I added books, games, etc., etc. Miscellaneous. I added my goals and so on. So it keeps track of let's say, my life. I have another dashboard called My Life in Geotech. There I organize everything regarding my life in Geotech, my timetable, list general goals, daily goals, my courses. I don't need to access Moodle anymore. I only copy the URL and paste it there, and then I access my slides from there. And I can take notes, class notes, and then all that stuff. And I have a calendar there, added the important dates.
You know, one thing that I noticed about you, Maher, and it's kind of something that I'm jealous about you, is that you're that type of digital guy. And Because I remember last time where you transformed from this pen and paper note-taking to the iPad thing, to the iPad technology. And yeah, that's one thing about the internet, because
you see,
and
that's
when I try to picture myself doing something like that, I'm like, no, I'm this pen and paper guy, and I cannot see myself doing any differential equations on the.
I'd prefer actually to write on a notepad, because I want to get my eyes off the screen for a little bit. So I still prefer till this day to write.
I'm still a pen and paper guy, but the reason why I shifted to digital note taking, because sometimes when you study hard, sometimes you lose interest, you get bored. So every semester I try something new. Last semester I bought an iPad to try how does it feel like to take digital note taking, and it really affected my abilities to study. I became much more efficient. This semester, when I found out about Notion, it took me to a whole new level. When it comes, this is the first semester where I managed to study 10 straight hours, sometimes 12 hours.
MashaAllah. I think I need to try this app.
This semester made me do it, because I remember this week I was so busy and congested. I almost spent the whole week studying from around 5 to 10 hours straight, just because of this app.
In a day or in a week?
Not the whole week. I mean, not daily. It's daily, but this week.
I thought you studied 10 hours daily.
Yes, daily for the whole week.
10 hours daily, that's a killer.
It's a killer, and it's not that healthy, but I don't know. I feel like I couldn't stop, because you have that good feeling when you tick anything that you've done.
Yeah, that's great, mashallah.
Actually,
that's a nice.
I also tried using that for this feature, and especially like just before this meeting, I got all my the whole midterm schedule, quizzes, assignments, submissions, all using this Notion app. And also the ticking thing is very satisfying.
I really need to try this app, mashallah.
I have another app for you guys. It's called Tree, where basically it's just like it's called Forest actually. Where basically it has a time watch. I've been using this to study a lot. It has this stopwatch thing or a timer. You can adjust it whatever you want. It goes from 10 minutes to 2 hours. Where basically during that time you click on start, the timer starts, and your tree starts growing. During this time you just put your phone away, you do your studying and all. If you leave the app or like use your phone during that time, the tree dies. But if you complete the stopwatch, or if you complete the timer that you set to study in, you get a new tree. And it's like, I think you get a new tree each 45 minutes or something, or a full grown tree. And I've been using it since, for example, I get very distracted with my phone sometimes. I've been using this to distract, and I get to study like even up to 4 or 5 consecutive hours. And it's very, very helpful too.
That's the thing. I love trying new stuff, because it just helps me to keep going, not to stop.
And do these apps require any internet connection or something like that?
Notion, because you can use it on your laptop and almost any device except for smartwatches.
So it synchronizes everywhere.
Yeah, synchronized. If I edit on my laptop, I would have started to edit on my iPad like in real time. That's the beauty of this.
The first doesn't need that.
Okay, so
I actually downloaded Notion because there was a video I got to see on YouTube, and Mahir told me about it, so I was like, let me try, but I couldn't get to use it. So I was planning to meet Mahir, I think, later this week, but it couldn't happen. And
I will help you, no worries. I will get you covered.
Okay, now with all of that being said, how long do you think you guys spend online doing whatever you do, like per day? I would say to me, maybe like 14 hours a day, because like everything is there. Because I study all morning almost, like everything. Because we study online, and then I'm very active on all my social media platforms, and then like what else? Like I love the internet so much. but I also make sure I spend time like living in the moment, like being with my family and all that. Like not just, I'm not an addict or something. You have to find, I feel like, the right balance. So 14 hours is a bit much, and I think I have to reduce that.
But nowadays it's not much, to be honest.
Yeah, actually that's true, because we're always home.
Yeah.
Consider with everything that we are going on, we're going through, it's not that much.
Exactly.
How much? Also it don't necessarily have to be a bad thing though. Like, because one thing that I find really amazing about technology and the internet overall is, like, in the past 20 years, this thing has pretty much like just revolutionized everything in terms of information gathering, information, like in general. Like, if you want anything you need, you'll find it just in this phone. Like, what's the point of this? You can find literally everything. You want to call someone, you want to do something, take a picture, you want to do this and that. It's just, God damn it. Yeah, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And you know one thing about the internet, just like Abdulaziz said, and it's not necessarily always a bad thing, because if you want to learn anything you can learn through the internet. And there's pretty much everything free of charge. You just go to YouTube and you can access everything.
But the thing is,
programming, go to the internet. Wanna do let's
go
say
to
on
the
my
internet.
daily basis, most of my time, this semester is kind of a free semester, because maximum we have 2 lectures on, I think, only 3 days. Then on every other day we have 1 lecture, and on Thursday it's always free. So
wow, you guys are so lucky. We have like 4 lectures a day sometimes.
Oh, that's really cool.
Can't relate.
Good luck.
Not really.
So on our situation, when you find yourself having that much free time, then you're like, let me try to grab some new skills. Go to the internet. There's this, in engineering, we have this Fusion. It's a 3D designing software.
Yeah.
It was like, this is really cool. Let me try to use it. And you go to YouTube, get a whole bunch of tutorials. Then you get to Spotify, you watch some podcasts, Joe Rogan content over there, Jordan Peterson. That's one cool thing about the internet. Wow.
You can access almost everything.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we see internet like as a blessing nowadays, especially like for this generation. But many people, especially from past generations, don't see it that way. They feel like the internet is completely destroying like the coming generations. And this is like a whole other...
There's keep on starting.
Oh, no, I won't interrupt you.
There's this book. It's called Homo Deus. It's written by a Jewish author. It's called, the guy is called Yuval Noah Harari. And in that book, he actually talks, it's called The Brief History of the Future. And he described the internet nowadays like the internet is now a religion.
You see,
unfortunately,
that's
people worship the
internet.
People worship data these days.
Unfortunately, that's kind of true.
There's a tribe.
He called this religion dataism.
I read this piece of information that there's a tribe, I don't know in which region, they worship Google. Because as God. Seriously, they worship Google because it knows everything.
You see,
I wish that was true. I mean, that's so funny that they worship Google, but Google still doesn't know everything. Like, there's numerous amounts of time where I've searched for stuff and it just doesn't have the answer.
Yeah, because it's a search engine.
Exactly.
It uses machine learning, neural networks. So it depends on what you search and what people publish or upload on the websites, because it uses the keywords.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yes, regarding what you said about people from the past, that when they criticize the internet, it depends also on the way how you grew up. For example, 10 years later, maybe our children, our grandchildren, hopefully, they will live with something different because you know that the future is heading towards quantum computing, cloud computing, these things. So the next generation, they wouldn't even know what's a hard disk or a hard drive, because everything will be on the cloud. Maybe, for example, since I'm a gamer, right? So I have a console. So in the future, maybe we won't need a console, because nowadays you can stream games. For example, Google Stadia, unfortunately they stopped. They developed a cloud gaming service where, for example, if you watch a video on YouTube about that game, with one click you'll play the game. Is it? You are watching a video, one click you are playing the game. So this is where we are heading actually. Okay. We won't use anything, any physical device.
Actually, another point about that.
On the cloud. Yes?
Another point about that, which is not exactly related to technology, but this whole concept that I think, I mean, in my personal opinion, there's an ego problem with some of the old generation.
Yes.
In terms of not accepting
that is
the
so
current
true.
Evolution of whatever's happening. And one thing is, when it comes to technology, that's one thing. When it comes to tarbiyah, what's tarbiyah? Like raising people and the whole ideologies and yes, and their social rules and there's this kind of stuff. I will not shut up if I start preaching about that. But there's one thing I was talking to a friend of mine last night, and in terms of the fitness industry. So back in the day, in terms of the fitness industry, it was just like, for example, if you're obese, you're supposed to bulk. When bulking, you eat, like they tell you, like eat 14 eggs a day. That's for breakfast.
Ooh.
And you eat 8 meals a day. And the first meal you ate 14 eggs, and you eat like 2 slices of bread. And then there's other diets. They're just like eat 2 slices of bread and half an apple. That is all like old school thinking. Like back in the day, they're just like some of the people that use steroids and stuff. Also, when it comes to supplements, for example, protein, whey protein, people still have the idea that these are injections, these are steroids, these are bad for you. When in fact, protein is basically literally just protein, but in a sustainable and easier to take form. So there's still these lots of misconceptions that defy science itself when it comes to, for example, weight loss and for fitness in general, whatever your goals are. For example, it's literally just the basic concept of calories in and calories out. But then people have the old idea that no, these new people don't know anything about it.
Yes.
And this kind of stuff is just like, these ego problems are just like some kind of barricade that stop us from evolving at a much higher rate. And also one last thing I'm going to talk about this is people have to understand that the next generations that come after us are supposed to be smarter, and they will surpass us. And that's what's supposed to happen. So if you have an ego problem with a kid that's smarter than you or younger than you, just because you're older, you have something to think about. And
actually, on that note, I feel like everything has a good and a bad side to it. So I'm not a parent and I don't want to give parenting advice or anything, but I feel like if the child is well educated and they know like what's wrong and what's right and what to use the internet for and what not to use it for, then okay, you trust that you raised them well and that's it. And also, like you should, like the parents, like example, my parents here, they always make sure like they gather us each and every day. They're like, okay, let's sit together, leave your phones away. Now we're all sitting, and like we're already used to that. We love that. We look forward to that. But if you just let them go, don't ask them anything, don't like gathering, of course, like they're gonna be online 24/7, and they don't even know what is family time. So I feel like it all starts at home, basically.
Well, what is family time again? Because I don't know.
I also don't know it.
What?
Okay, I'm just joking. There's one thing that I kind of am cautious about the future of technology. And yeah, so, you know, right now everything is moving digital, like Mahir said just before Abdulaziz was speaking. And Yeah, so everything will go to digital cloud computing and all of that stuff. So everything will just be, and right now, based on the evolution of machine learning and artificial intelligence in general, there's one thing is that, let's say, for people who have social media, when you start scrolling through your social media, and let's say you tend to like a post on your Explore, and you come to like another post and another one, so it will just take at least only 5 posts to give you everything that you want. And yeah, these systems can actually read your mind, and every day they're getting better and better at reading humans. And one of the impacts about that one is that it raises polarized society. So people cannot be able to sit and have a discussion about something just because the internet feed is feeding them with something that they want to see, and
or they're checking their phone every 5 minutes.
The other group is being fed with another group of ideas which they all want to see. And in the end, everyone remained locked in their echo chamber. It's the same thing about YouTube also. So you watch one video, the next video that will be recommended is a video that is related to the previous one.
Related to what you watch.
You're not growing. You're not growing. You're just within that small echo chamber.
Within that small circle, that circle.
Yeah, and it's the same thing about books for people who love books. In this era, we are still lucky that we have this hardcover and paperback books, these types of books. But sometime in the future, I don't think these will be published anymore, because I think when it comes to all of that stuff, I think it will all transition to digital. And this Amazon Kindle will be kind of a very
it will be the common thing.
I hope books don't disappear. Ya Rab, inshallah.
I hope so too.
So one thing about it is that, and this is one of my fears, is that right now, whenever I want to buy a book, I will go and search about this type of book, not limited to the previous books that I've read, I mean. But when it comes to the future and it comes to these digital technologies, which will be able to read our minds even better in the future, one thing is that when you've read this book, they would recommend you another book which is kind of related to the previous
one,
which means you'll just remain in that small echo chamber of yours, and you won't be getting to learn something new. You'll just be getting to see something that you want to see.
Actually, on that note, I feel also worrying about the next generation, which is, I think this is the next point, is that people are promoting the wrong things. Like they see something that's not right and they'll promote it. They see, for example, now I think something that I'm really happy about and I'm really glad that it's raising more awareness is mental health. I think now people are starting to take mental health much more seriously, but still some people almost like they don't understand it. So like someone will be like, they'll just be disappointed and they'll be like, oh, I'm depressed. Like, no, you're not depressed. You need to understand what depression is, and don't just throw that word around. Like people need to be very careful of what they promote, and then not be mad why this person or this thing is famous. It's because your fault. You're the one who promoted it. And
yeah, true.
I mean, I don't know, but is it considered correct? There is also a point that I don't know if it's necessarily promoting it, but people think it's cool, so the term is thrown about much more easily, I guess. But not that. I don't think that necessarily means that we're condemning these people or just not acknowledging what they may be facing. But it's kind of weird because it all goes hand in hand, but it doesn't. Because, for example, how would you? Because one thing is, we're trying to think of what really matters. Who are the people who we should be focusing on, and how are we going to help them?
Yes,
also, if it comes to the point that there are some people that we need to make it clearer to them what the whole this thing is and how to deal with it. There's these people that we don't want to condemn Because if we condemn them, even though we might not think that what they're saying is correct, or they might be faking it because it's cool and stuff. In case they actually have it, it's gonna be very bad because it's just gonna pushing away. It's like kind of neglecting what they're facing and suffering from, and it's totally opposite of the whole point of doing this and spreading awareness, which is why it's some kind of like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
I'm doing too much thinking today.
So I think the problem is generalizing. People almost generalize everything. Like they say this whole generation is ruined. Like that's not true. And for example, this I feel like it's quite talked about a lot nowadays, which is Twitter. Okay, you know the Aziz, you're on Twitter a lot too.
First of all, Twitter is just a bunch of trolls, just people trolling, and nobody's ever serious, and it's just hilarious. And shit, what was I gonna say? Yes, about people that are blaming the whole generation that, oh shit, this whole generation is screwed and all. Chances are these people that are saying that are not from the same generation but the one before it. But there's a slight ego problem. Of course, this is just a chance. There's a slight ego problem which is interfering with what they think and how they think. And which is why they find it easier to just, let's blame these kids because they're just retarded and stuff. And then again, the ego problem is not accepting that the next generations are supposed to be, theoretically speaking, they're supposed to be better and smarter and more evolved as regular human beings.
And sometimes they will get mad.
This book, it's called Homo Deus. Yeah, it kind of says the same idea that Abdulaziz has summarized. Like, yeah, right now, due to the evolution of technology, it's that right now we are not trying to upgrade the low standards of people. Right now, all that technology is trying to do is build superhumans, and the definition Homo Deus is basically a superhuman.
No, and sometimes someone will say like, oh, you have it easy. In our generation, we used to walk to school. We didn't even have cars. Okay, what do you want me to do? You want me to be sorry that we have a car?
That's the thing that they should know. Every generation builds up on its predecessor. Because every generation has its, let's say, superiority, and it lacks something. So that gap, that for example, our generation, I don't know what it lacks, because basically we are going to the digital world. Let's say, okay, our generation, we started with almost physical things, physical equipment, devices, etc., etc. And some of them, they were not convenient in our life. It wasn't basically efficient. And that's the whole point of transition to the digital world. Not everything. I mean, some aspects of the digital world, it will affect us in terms of security, privacy, etc., etc. But what's good and convenient about going digital into the digital world is that how can you access what you need? You can access basically on everything. So yeah, every generation builds up on its previous generation, and it covers what the previous generation lacks, and it improves what it already has. Yeah, something like that.
Actually, people change along with the time, but we need to understand that some people don't want to change. But at least you need to learn to adapt, not just attack things. You know?
And that's the hardest thing.
A little sprinkle of ego.
That's all about ego, because we're all having to face that one. In our generation, we didn't have this one.
I think everyone faces this problem.
Blah blah blah, all of that stuff. But what do you want us to?
But
what do you want me to do? To be sorry that we have technology?
Men these days, you'll find them on their phones like this, scrolling this.
Yes, exactly. And they'll be like, "No, we don't use our phones except for a little while." Like okay.
One thing though about that, how to face it is basically there's a lot of bad stuff normalized, and how do we deal with that? There are, for example, let's say, social rules sometimes that make no sense logically. not just social. There's a lot of stuff that is normalized that does not make any logical sense. How do we deal with it? And how do we deal with the people who support that? Basically, coming to the at least what works for me is coming to the realization that whatever you think, like there's a good quote I really like, which is don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. And that's just pretty much, that's 90% of the population. The people that the shit talkers normally are not people you would think of going to for advice, because it's very easy to like blame someone, throwing the blame away, or just looking at the negatives of stuff. For example, I actually talked about this in high school, in Arabic something, public speaking test or some shit, which is basically you have a piece of paper, and I'm not bothered to bring a pen, but basically you have a sheet of paper. It's blank. Oh God, this has German on it. Anyway, when you look at this paper, what do you see? If you tell anyone that, actually, like, let's test it out. What do you guys see?
I see a white paper filled with information, filled with data.
Okay, yeah. So the whole idea was during the test itself, it's basically there's a single dot in the middle of the paper. Yeah, and what people would focus is on the black dot, but not the whole paper, which in another term you can think of like people would look at the bad thing and they neglect all the good over here.
Oh, so that just yes. My dad gives this example all the time. Yeah.
It's very easy to like, you make me sound old. And it's like very easy to focus on the bad stuff. And when it comes to that, it's just like, you shouldn't care about, like, half of the time what people think or say is just pretty much irrelevant. It can stay in your mind for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, maximum 15 seconds. But other than that, it's just giving them the opportunity to just drain your energy needlessly without any gain to yourself. And gain is just having the peace of mind is the main goal overall. So if you just like accepting what people say and or the shit talking or just يعني تعطيهم وجه بشكل عام and just that's just giving them the opportunity to just drain you away. And
that's what they want, actually. They want attention.
Exactly. And the sad thing is most of the time it's subconscious. They're not fully conscious of what they're doing. So in the end, it's just like, you do you. Like, as long as you're, what I believe in is as long as you're 100% sure of what you're doing and it doesn't defy God's laws and stuff, you're good to go. People are going to speak either way. Might as well make it work.
That's the thing. That's the thing, actually. Now I feel people, they're like, oh, be open-minded, be open-minded. Yes, be open-minded, but don't forget your religion. Like, that's, like, I'm not here to judge, and I never judge anyone. There's nobody's place to judge anyone. But same time, you'll see people are like, oh, Merry Christmas. And we're like, why? Like, you're a Muslim. And they're like, oh, we're open-minded. Like, no, you're open-minded, but don't forget your religion. Like, do things fi nitaq al-Islam. You understand?
Or hallelujah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what that means?
There's one, it's a Jewish one. It's called Shalom. Yeah, you say that one.
Yeah, and that's like the biggest no for Muslims. And be like, hey, Shalom. Or like, bruh.
There is something that...
this you know, that reminds me of this.
Come again?
Okay, one of you.
Yeah, it reminds me of that quote which says, you're going to pay a bloody price for everything you do and everything you don't. Mm-hmm. You don't get to choose what poison not to take, because every poison, every decision that you take is equally harmful. So you have to be careful about your actions.
Actually, no matter what you do, no matter what you do, whether it was good, whether it was bad, whether you did the greatest thing, people are going to talk bad about you and going to talk good about you. So just you do you, boo. Don't worry about other people. And that's it. I feel like that's how you're going to live like a mentally relaxing life almost. If you don't care and don't worry about what other people say.
There's something about what you said about being open-minded but stick with your religion. Well, there's a book that I read. This book, it's called Evolve. And I was so curious about reading this book because basically the author is my sister's friend, and this book was her gift, and I stole it from her. The book is so deep into philosophy, religion, etc., etc. A lot of factors, and the thing is, the author is 17 years old.
Oh,
and the book, the thing is, what made me so suspicious about reading this book, the fact that it has some verses from the Bible, and I read them, and I found out that there's a lot of things that are in the Bible. I found them in the Quran, but in a different way. It's not like significantly different, but it's there. I mean, I was like, wow, I remember this from this verse in the Quran. It said this and this and this. And for example, this book that I'm reading, A Little History of the World, I mean, it talked about Nabi Sulaiman, almost most of the prophets that were in Palestine, Egypt, even Prophet Yusuf and his brothers, the same thing. I mean, everything that they discuss in this book, we already learned them in the Islamic way. So the story here is different, especially Yusuf's story is a little bit different. And we know that his brothers, they threw him in the well. But here it's, when I read it, it said that his brothers, they took him to Egypt, and I don't know why they left him there. And there's these differences. So
actually, there are a lot of similarities. I actually read the Bible once too, but like I couldn't get over the he has son or he has or this. I'm like, why do you use so many pronouns? So I just left it. But there's a lot of similarities. That's what you said, Maher, in the Quran and the Bible, but it is slightly muharraf. But not like that. Like I think this is largely muharraf.
All the way from Nabi Adam, I think, till before Nabi Ibrahim, most of the stories they actually correlate. And then I think at around Nabi Yusuf and all of that, that's when everything starts to
changes.
And one thing that the internet has helped revolutionize this discussion about the Quran and the Bible, like this Islam, Christianity, and atheism in general, is that several years ago, actually centuries probably, Muslims and Christians were very mortal enemies, and people would move all the way from Arabia to Europe to go and fight the Christians and all of that. But with the evolution of the internet and all of that, and actually globalization in general, is that right now people can actually be able to sit and have a discussion about these matters, and without going to war, without slaying their heads.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of very interesting.
That's convenient.
You could see people living in the UK, let's say, and they're all Christians, and they would be liking to go to a country like Syria, which is an Islamic country. That's something that you have to be grateful for, because you can see like the rate of wars in general has declined due to these matters, and I think that's a good thing. But one downside about that in general, I think I was listening to this Joe Rogan podcast he was having with Tristan Harris, who is one of the main people, who was among the main people in Google, and he said something which actually got my attention, is that if you want to know a country which will be in a civil war in the next 2 years, just look for the countries which have access to free Facebook, because sometimes Facebook usually gets into contract with some mobile phone producers, and whenever you put any SIM card, you can access Facebook for free in that country. And that is one of the negative consequences, is that if you want to know a country which will be in civil war in the next 2 years, just look at the countries which have gotten access to free Facebook. And I think that is one thing that happened Myanmar, I think. Yeah, something like that. And it was regarding the Rohingya Muslims and how they were killed. It was all because of free Facebook. And
also now that the army are taking over
actually correlate to that issue. And
Okay, next, when it comes to privacy, what do you guys like? What do you guys share, and what do you other things that you think are better remain private when it comes to the internet?
To be honest, just to be as clear as a whistle, although we want to have privacy, but you cannot have privacy in the internet. Even the new thing that they have introduced, I don't know, I hope that I will pronounce it right. Incognito, or I don't know what's it. Do you know it? Wait, let me check it first.
Wait, what?
I think it's called Incognito, right? Incognito, yeah. The new Incognito tab. The whole purpose of this tab is to keep like the browser will not like it will not follow what you do. I mean, it will be as private as possible. It will not.
I don't think that's going to work.
But the thing is, Google. This is recently. They were fined a big amount of money because their Incognito tab actually used to track you. Although it wasn't supposed to do that, but it tracks you and it steals your information. It tracks what you are doing. So all in all, what's the point of you producing this tab while you were advertising it as if you activate this tab, we won't track what you are doing. And at the same time, you're actually tracking what I am doing.
I don't think anything that's put in the internet will never remain private. They tell you, oh, this is private on your private tab, on your private notes, but no, it's not private.
They say, for example,
the only internet that cannot be tracked up to now is if you can get access to the deep web. To the deep web? To the deep web. Yeah, because at first we had this World Wide Web, this www thing. Then at some point, I think it's the FBI, they had to develop a new type of web, which is the deep web, in order to be able to do their own communications without being tracked. So when you're in this surface wave, the one that we are using right now, is that one thing that you have to give up on is your privacy.
Privacy, yeah.
I mean, when it comes to the internet,
they usually say that when you use VPN to surf the internet or something like that.
They say VPN almost secures you.
Yeah, they say it's secure, but on my side, I still don't believe that one because let's say you're using.
I feel like VPN makes the web faster, but I don't know about secure.
No, it's not. No, it doesn't increase the speed. Actually, you are using a different server. That's the difference.
Yeah, maybe it just takes you to a virtual location.
Virtual location. For example, USA, UK. So you'll use their servers. For example, a simple example: if you use VPN while surfacing Netflix, let's say my VPN location is on the USA, so I will actually see the contents of the USA server. That's the thing of VPNs. But privacy, forget about in the world of internet.
I mean, when it comes to privacy,
one thing that is kind of crazy and it still strikes my mind about privacy. There's this Islamic app. It's called Muslim Pro. I think it's one of the most famous applications that have been developed for the Muslim world. It's called Muslim Pro. So this app was owned by is still owned by a group of developers, I think in the US, something like that. And these guys were actually selling data to the CIA. So if someone is trying to use their app to track the location of Qibla or something, something related to that one, the CIA can actually access that information. And they had a long-term contract with the CIA about selling data of Muslims, and the CIA actually agreed about it, even though the developers who are Muslims denied it. Yeah, the CIA said, yeah, they used information from the people in that app to track terrorists. And how is that related to terrorists in any manner?
They will always find a way.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the bigger issues that we still have. And we don't know if something can be done about it.
Yeah. But I was saying actually about privacy, for example, okay, let's say family, like stuff that happens in your family, like these things should be private. You should not go and post about them on the internet and say this is happening and this is happening to my family and all this. This should not be private. This should not be put out publicly. Also, when you share information, whatever information you share, you should be really, really careful, because you never know who's watching and who's stalking. It happened to me actually many occasions where people stalk me on many different social media apps. So that's why I've learned to be like, nothing happened, alhamdulillah, and hopefully nothing ever happens. But I've just learned to be very careful and very private, and I choose who I allow on my social medias and who I don't, you know?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to that, for social media, I just post random shit that I don't really care about. It's just like, when it comes to family stuff, do I do anything on family stuff? Not that I think of. It's just like, basically, it's just I find amusing or stuff like that. Which, to be honest, when it comes to tracking, you can track me all you want. You will literally not find anything useful. Unless you have free time on yourself, you can watch some memes. That's just about it.
Actually, also people say, like, don't post everything, because not everyone's happy for you. Not everyone's your friend. You understand? So don't tell people your plans, only give them the results. You get?
When it comes to that, it's just like, if I'm going to say, first of all, I need a reason if I'm going to give you my plan. And if you're happy or not, I would not really post it to care about your opinion. It's just, that's literally one of the reasons why I just post random shit. I don't find a single reason why I should tell you what I'm going to do, or why I'm going to, or how am I going to do it. So just post random shit and enjoy it.
Actually, just post what I want to post, but I also make sure that I'm careful, you know? But I make sure that I post and like, I am me, like people see the real me. I don't just put on a fake persona or something. No?
I mean, my
that's one thing that
they're gonna tolerate my shit.
That's one thing that actually even causes mental health problems. So this new generation. Yeah, because when you start scrolling through social media, it's rarely that you'll find people posting or sharing about their flaws. People like to see, people like to be seen as successful, and they like to show that successful side of them. And that is the.
You obviously haven't seen Twitter, because Twitter is just people posting like their insecurities, their private lives. I feel that's mostly it. And then people say Twitter is toxic. Yeah, but they say Twitter is toxic. It's not toxic. It's toxic. Some people who say Twitter is toxic, they're the ones who make it toxic. I feel like just enter, say what you want to say and follow and look into stuff that you're interested in, and then leave. Like, if you're not interested in it, why do you keep on scrolling and reading more about it? Like, why? You're just wasting your own time.
It's just a very weird app. Like, my whole reason there, my account is basically a personal statement of, let me say the most random shit and see who's going to continue the ride. Unfortunately, there's too many people that find it amusing. And
it is. It is actually.
What's going on. Yeah.
Actually, on my Twitter, I remember one time I got a comment. Someone said, "You're always so happy, so tone it down. You sound like a child." I was like, well, this is me, and I'm not going to change myself except for the better. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, thank you very much. Goodbye. You know?
I mean, it's basically like having a conversation, a very public conversation. So I have no clue how to start of it. Like, let me say this shit, whoever responds. But most of the time you say shit that you don't necessarily plan for people to respond to. Like, for example,
like I say stuff you say what you want to say and what you care about. If you want to reply, reply. If you don't, I don't care. You know?
Yeah.
I guess I have nothing to speak about this topic because I'm in neither social media. So yeah.
Oh.
You know, one thing.
I'm just enjoying the conversation here. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
One thing is just I close all notifications on all social media apps, so I don't get distracted and I don't waste my time on it. So it's basically just like...
It is actually very distracting, especially TikTok. If anyone who has TikTok, it's the most, like, I love it, but it also wastes your time. So, like, once you open it, you'll say, I'll be here for 5 minutes. That's literally impossible. It will suck you in. Like, you'll be there for hours.
I find it very annoying. But it has good food TikTok though. Food TikTok is great. Otherwise, I just find it really annoying.
I love TikTok.
When you talked about TikTok, Rania, there is one thing that, you know, when a social media app is being developed, what the developers are trying to do is to try to engage as many people as they can get in the shortest time possible. When you look at an app like Facebook, was among the first social media apps, and they kept improving that one as time went on. So TikTok became so successful at doing that because the moment you just get into the app, the first thing that you'll get to see is just a random video about something, and you just have to go down and it's a never-ending cycle.
TikTok really blew up. Like, it's so successful. I think almost everyone in every age category is there. Like, you can just stay. Like, it's a happy app almost. It brings so much happiness, I feel, so many people.
But one thing is, if you stay in local TikTok, like Arman's TikTok, that's just a recipe for
I feel it depends on what's on your For You page, you know?
Yeah, but the moment you download the app, you're stuck with local TikTok, and it's just horrifying.
I rarely get local TikToks, to be honest.
And I don't like it.
I've never used it.
I only use 2 social media apps, to be honest. Instagram, mostly for my news. Because
WhatsApp.
No, WhatsApp, I don't consider as a social media app. WhatsApp, basically, everyone has used it for a source of communication. Instagram and YouTube. YouTube for my entertainment. Instagram for basically news, or just look where's the world is heading, what's happening in the world, etc., etc. Yeah.
I feel also you should watch the news on TV. I watch the news almost every day with my parents. Well, it's so interesting, actually. I really like it.
2021.
Because Rania, you look like a mother and soon a grandmother, so yeah, you have the traits. You'll be a successful mother, inshallah, in the future.
Okay, so for our final segment on our podcast, we play a little game called This or That. Even anyone watching at home, you can participate and say your answer. So I'll give you 2 choices and you say either you want this or that. Okay, you ready to start?
Okay.
Netflix or YouTube?
YouTube.
Straight away.
Away, YouTube. Yes.
We use Netflix.
I use Netflix and I enjoy it, but YouTube, I can do.
I feel YouTube is more complex.
Complex, and it has much more variety in it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, phone calls or texts?
Phone calls.
Phone calls.
Yeah, for me.
What you said? Okay. TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
Easy.
Android or iOS?
Android.
iOS. I'm on the other hand with iOS. Okay.
I mean, iOS is mostly developed for females.
Baba.
Here's the thing. I'm not a hater. I'm not everyone, especially in computer science, they think I'm an Apple hater, but I'm not actually. I just enjoy messing around with Apple users because I won't generalize it, but most Apple users, they are naive. They are not open-minded. That's the thing. Whenever I said I won't generalize, but this is the truth. Android users, we are big, not only Android users, I mean open source operating system users, Android, Windows, we enjoy learning new stuff. we enjoy looking at what other companies are doing. We even look at what Apple are doing, and we're gonna criticize the wrongs, and we're gonna give them credit when it's due. That's the thing. But Apple users, basically, they are so locked in that circle that whenever they see something like, okay, Samsung's prices right now are really high. They reach 400 riyals, 500 riyals. I have members in my family who use Apple products. They were shocked. Samsung all of a sudden had a flagship phone cost 400, 500 riyals. They thought that Samsung's still in the 200 riyals range. So that's the thing.
Actually,
whenever a feature comes to Apple, for example, right now, I think in iOS 14, they can now add widgets on their home screen.
But this is actually an old Samsung thing. Yes, an old Android thing. But
they
okay,
still don't have always on display. And
the thing is, I used to be okay. Continue.
No, you can continue.
No, because you said the last.
Okay. For example, even 5G in their last conference, they were promoting 5G like it's something new and they are the first one to do it. While it was in other mobile phones,
I think Huawei developed the technology first.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You know.
No, the thing is, I used to be an Android user. And then when I changed to iOS, I don't think I ever want to go back. And the thing with widgets, yes, when I saw it, I was like, oh, Android did this. This is an old thing. Android did it a long time ago. But the thing is, when Android did it, it was boring and it was not cool and there was no fun. But now that iOS did it, it's fresh and it's more fun for some reason. I don't know how, but it is.
More fun because it's something new to them.
Yeah.
It's because it's something
There's
new
one
to
thing that I find amazing, that there was one of my cousins. He was a long time Android user, and his wife told him to try the Apple products and get the new iPhone. I think it was last year. So no, the year before, I think. Yeah, the shaving machine iPhone, that type, which has 3 cameras. Which one is it, 11?
I thought you were saying a shaving Apple machine, iPhone 11.
The Kuka.
Yeah, the Kuka one. So actually, my cousin denied to do that, and his wife actually offered that she would pay him money for using the iPhone. And so my cousin got the iPhone, and then his wife actually got him 200 riyals, and it's kind of giving him money to keep using the iPhone, and I find it so stupid.
I wish someone was paying me to use iPhone. That's amazing. Okay, next.
It was last week. I was talking to him again, and he was like, I don't think I'm this iPhone type of a guy again, because I was showing him the YouTube Advanced, and he couldn't manage to install this type of applications in his iPhone, and he was like,
yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Welcome to the
club. You can download YouTube. I downloaded YouTube on my phone.
YouTube Advanced. It's a different YouTube. Advanced. Like YouTube, but with no ads. Instead of paying for YouTube Premium, you have all of these privileges. You
can actually use it in the background, and it has almost all the features that
are in the Premium. So that's the beauty about open source operating systems. You are free to do anything.
Yeah, but I don't think you are, Rania, because you're an iPhone user, and hopefully someday
and a proud iPhone user to that.
Yeah.
Anyways, next. Next, cats or dogs? Cats.
I'm not a pet guy, but for me, I will choose dogs.
I'll go for cat.
Because pet a cat when you encounter one on the streets, so I'll go for the cats.
Cats.
The reason why I chose dogs, because I don't know what type of dog that looks like a wolf. I'm a big fan of wolves, so
Husky.
I think husky.
There are huskies, and German shepherds.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of them, especially
German shepherds,
either full
German
white or
shepherds
full
look
black.
like sheep.
No, they're actually so big and so scary. We have one in the neighborhood.
Big like a sheep. I've seen one like half my height. Hell no, I'm never getting close to that.
Okay, next. Walking or driving?
Driving.
I'd love to driving. Yeah.
For me, both, to be honest. I enjoy
both, I say.
But if you choose one, I will choose driving because it's much more efficient.
Yeah. What you say, Suleiman?
I'd go with the walking. I've been enjoying these days. I walk for up to 5 kilometers at night. So
will you walk from home to uni?
Impossible. That's why Casa developed.
We have to try it, We'll meet up in your place and then we're gonna walk to uni.
Okay, and last but not least, night out or night in?
Night out, I didn't get it. Night out,
but
night in.
Like, would you like to spend would you like to spend the weekend night out or night in? Like to go out or stay in?
To be honest,
do you mean the weekend or the night? Like spending the night out or spending the night in? I haven't gotten your question because
night out or night in.
It depends on
during the weekend.
Since we're in a pandemic, leaving out is fun once in a while.
I would say night out, to be honest.
Night ins.
Mostly go for it.
Spend my time with either this or this.
Oh, good.
So, night in.
MashaAllah. Okay, and that is the end of our first episode of this podcast. Thank you guys all for participating and being our amazing guests. And thank you guys for watching at home. Inshallah, we'll see you all very soon for our next episode. Goodbye and have a nice day.
Have a good day.